It's time for a little comedy, a little content, and a lot of conversation. It's the Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube. Now here's your host, Geno Jones.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? It is Geno Jones Showtime. Bam! Hey, I come to you live Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 5:30 p.m. if you're in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Subscribe, share, screen grab, like, and binge watch all my back episodes. Let me give you that again. I need you to subscribe and tell everybody you know. Everybody, as Nelly would say, everybody you know, to subscribe, share this episode, like this episode, screen grab it, create a viral moment, a YouTube short, put a viral moment, let's make it go viral, clip on TikTok, on Threads, on Twitter or X, on Instagram, on Facebook, or YouTube short, like I said. Monday through Friday, it's live and in living color, like you see me now, 6:30 p.m. on the East Coast here in the Carolinas, 5:30 Chicago, 3:30 West Coast. All right, we got that out the way. So today I got a guest. He is the executive producer of a documentary that's already on Amazon Prime. Some of you may have already seen it. It's called Precedence. It's like a legal term. Precedence, not president. Precedence with a C. Precedence. Precedence. The R. Kelly story. R. Kelly story from a different perspective. So I just want to give you a heads up. Conversation, it might trigger you. You might agree or disagree. But anyway, it's going to be an interesting conversation. The executive producer, Michael Karaja, is going to join me. So I'm looking forward to this conversation. You don't want to miss that. So let's kick everything off. If you are a fan of Terry McMillan, and I know the sisters love some Terry McMillan, it's the woman that brought you the novels, How Stella Got Her Groove Back and Waiting to Exhale, both best-selling novels turned into best-selling movies. How Stella Got Her Groove Back and Waiting to Exhale with my girl, Angela Bassett. Well, they have teamed up, and they are coming up with a series of like movies for Lifetime. It's going to be called Terry McMillan Presents. Terry McMillan Presents this movie, that movie. So they haven't announced exactly when they're going to release them, but that announcement is coming later this year. But I got the heads up that are Terry McMillan and Lifetime. And I know a lot of the ladies love some Lifetime. My mother, Damaris, a big Lifetime watchers. And I know a lot of you ladies are. So that'll be real. And Terry McMillan, so you know it's going to be fire. Because y'all know Terry McMillan don't play. You read the novels, you saw the book. I mean, you read the novels, which is the book. You saw the book in the store, and you read it, bought it, read the novels, and you saw the movies. How Stella Got Her Groove Back and Waiting to Exhale. Big shout. Speaking of big, it is a big week for my man Usher Raymond. Usher Raymond the Fourth. So Friday, Usher is going to drop his brand new album called Coming Home. It's his new studio album. If I'm correct, I think it is number 7 or number 9. Anyway, it's a new studio album called Coming Home. Sunday, the big day, the big game, Super Bowl 58, the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers in Viva Las Vegas, Nevada. And it's going to be in Allegiant Stadium. Man, forget about trying to buy a ticket. If you want to sit at the 50-yard line, that ticket's going to cost you about $200,000 each per ticket. Well, maybe a pair. I think last I saw was a pair of tickets were going for like $150,000. Who knows? It probably doubled or tripled now. So you're going to be out a lot of money, let alone, you forget about finding a hotel stay. They were charging like $4,000 or $5,000, and you'd have to rent it for like the weekend. They weren't doing no single nights. You was 3 nights, $4,000, $5,000. And Airbnbs were even worse, I heard. So that's going to be, Sunday's a big deal. And then on top of it, Usher is going to resume his Las Vegas residency. Anybody that saw Usher in Vegas know it was incredible. It was off the chain, and I missed it. My oldest daughter, whose birthday is Monday, Boogie, saw it, Some other people I know went to see it. They said it was spectacular. Spectacular. So it's coming back. But speaking of a tour, Usher's got the new album coming out Friday, Coming Home, and he's got a brand new tour that's going to start in August. Usher, Past, Present, and Future. That's the name of the new tour. Usher, Past, Present, and Future. It's going to start August 20th in Washington, D.C., and it's going to end in Chicago. Final 2 nights at the United Center. That's like 23, 24, 25,000 seats. That's where the Chicago Bulls play. It's going to end August 28th and 29th at the United Center in Chicago. That'll be the end of the tour, unless he adds some more dates. I'll keep you posted. Happy birthday today, February 7th, Essence Atkins. You've seen this sister on a lot of TV shows. Remember Smart Guy? She was on there. She was on another TV show called Half and Half. She was in the movie Are We There Yet? And she was in Deliver Us from Eva. She was one of Gabrielle Union's sister. She was kind of, I think, they're like the kind of rational one, maybe. So happy 52nd birthday to Essence Atkins. Now, remember 106 in Park back in the day that was on BET? You had AJ and Free. So the sister's name was Free. It's actually Marie Wright. That was her government name, but now it's Free Marie. So Free Marie from 106 in Park. Also, she was a former radio host out in LA, station called The Beat, 100.3 The Beat. She was a radio personality at PGC FM in DC, 93.9. She was also radio personality with Ed Lover in New York back in the day on Power 105.1. So now Marie ain't telling her age. So happy birthday, Free Marie, at least not publicly. Marlo Hampton, you've seen the sister. She was a stylist. You've seen on the Real Housewives of Atlanta and I Dream of Nene. Marlo Hampton, 48 today. And happy heavenly birthday to Sandra Bland, who was a civil rights activist. She was born on this day in 1987. You may be familiar with the story. Many of us are. Some may not. So she basically was driving. She was in Texas. She got pulled over for some BS, really. They wound up taking her to jail, and she died in a Texas jail. They found her hanging in the jail cell in a Texas jail on July 13th, 2015. Just another example of police misconduct. And the police officer who basically engaged in this bogus stop, he got fired. They called him, he lied. Basically, I guess his original report, he lied about it. So anyway, he got fired, and he can't even get a job in law enforcement again. But happy heavenly birthday to Sandra Wright. And Malcolm X said it best, and I'm going to say it again, the most unprotected, unprotected, neglected, unheard, I'm paraphrasing, person in America, in the world, is a black woman, which is a paraphrase of a line he gave in a great speech back in 1963. So, all right, let me bring my guest on. I was telling you there's a new documentary out on Amazon Prime called Precedence, the R. Kelly story, a different perspective. So it's an interesting conversation. Feel free if you're watching me live. Hello, Lisa Davis. Anybody got a question or comment, feel free to post it in the chat room. So I'm going to bring on camera my guest today, Brother Michael Karaja, fellow Chicago native, the executive producer of Precedence. How you doing, brother?
Good, brother. Good.
So welcome to the show. So let's cut through the chase. Like I said, my grandfather, I don't drink, but he said, I'm going to give it to you straight, no chaser. I'm going to give you the 151 Bacardi. I ain't giving you the 80 proof. I'm going to give you the 151 Bacardi with no Coke, no Coca-Cola. Yeah. We ain't cutting nothing. So what was the incentive for producing this documentary? That would be the first question, especially knowing the public narrative. So what was the inspiration, motivation behind doing this?
Yeah, so the motivation, honestly, was what really kind of bothered me and my partners that we decided to produce a documentary, and it's a documentary that's basically the issue at hand as far as in the Black community, as far as therapies and what they go through. And you can see it for yourself. You do go on Amazon Prime, but the simple fact was there was a narrative that was less showing one side, which is the victims, and I'm not saying that victims are wrong or anything like that, but it was basically just put on where there was nothing combating the true source of the problem, which is uh, you know, pretty much showing in our documentary as far as even keels. So that was one of the things, kind of telling a story uh, about Rob and his situation and what was around him, his handlers, whatever the case may be. But I think people need to see a different side than what that the public saw and what the media pretty much portrayed him as a monster. And looking at this type of documentary, you start saying, "Oh, okay, now I see like what the issue is behind the whole thing." You know, I'm Palestinian, so community of first generation Palestinian is. If I see a shrink, people are going to think I'm like, it's frowned upon. But I didn't have that help, just like Rob, and that's one of the things I think I wanted to really stress out with the team as far as him and his people that he had around him should have looked out in a better way and pretty much guided him in the right decision as far as seeking help.
So, Michael, let me ask you this, man, because I had a conversation. We, just full disclosure for the viewers, we had like a pre-show conversation, like people have pre-show meetings. And afterwards, I talked to, several women just to kind of get their feel. And this was the general consensus in terms of the question they wanted me to ask you. They said, well, look, they've heard all the stories about the unresolved trauma as a child in his background, the enablers, the allegations that maybe some of the families were offering up their daughters. Because, some of those narratives were out there because their daughters wanted to be a star, or maybe the families figured if they could get a record deal, they saw money. But in spite of all that, R. Kelly did what he did. He was still, at the end of the day, responsible. The P tape, I'm just going to give it to everybody straight, no chaser. The P tape don't lie. And, whatever unresolved trauma that led to that, you can't justify, as some women said, look, he was a predator, he was a pedophile, and I know you all have heard that. So for people that feel that way and have that position, what would you tell them, or why should they watch it, and what different take or perspective will they come out of this after watching it, if any? What do you hope they take away from this? The people who say, regardless of the enablers and everybody else, he was a grown man, with unresolved trauma or whatever. He still has never publicly, and we understand he's still engaged in the legal system, but there's never been an apology. There's never been a full, he hadn't held himself accountable. And
well, I can't comment on what he did and he didn't do. That's
publicly, these women, the people I talked to, they said they haven't seen any type of remorse, any apology, any holding himself accountable. So so what would people that feel that way, what would you tell them? Why should they watch the documentary, and what do you hope they take away from it after watching it?
Yeah. So for example, I was maybe a little over 8 months ago, and I'm actually going through her airport, just giving a case in point, and a lady had Aaliyah on there, a picture on her shirt, and had Aaliyah on her shirt. I said, man, she was a beautiful singer. She's like, yeah, until the animals. I said, who's the animal? And she said, Gels. like cows. I said, do you understand why would you say that? I told her. She's like, oh, what he did. I said, where? Do you know the person? Do you know the other side? And she didn't know, had nothing. I said, do you know there's two sides to a story, right? And she goes, you know what? I didn't think about that. So that's just one example of thinking. The public opinion actually changes a lot of people, and they're like, okay, so basically they go sit there and they see something on news and say, oh, he is guilty. But if somebody's seen this documentary and they looked at it, and I'll give another example. Uh, I have two sisters and about six nieces, and they know about Rob. They saw it as a girl version. I said, tell me your honest opinion, just to look at it. And they said, he's a predator. This is before I showed them the film. They saw it, and she said, one of my sisters said, Mike, I didn't know. I'm like, no, what? I didn't know he was a victim himself. So with that said, I think the narrative will be changed where he's not a monster. He's also a victim that he went through, and people look at it. He's not just what they point him to be out as a predator to these women.
But
He was a victim.
The sad part is that hurt people, and
100%, and it's in our documentary. Hurt people.
He went from a victim to being convicted of basically being a predator. So that's not an opinion. That's
brother Geno.
Let me finish. Hold on, Mike. Let me finish. Let me finish my thought, and you can respond. I got you. Let me finish your thought, because he has been convicted. I'm not, and I'm not the lawyer. I don't have the exact legal term, but we're going to keep it 1,000. I don't use BS my viewers, so let me just finish my thought here. And like I said, there's some women who, in spite of hearing and seeing the unresolved trauma, because that story's kind of been out there. I know we talked earlier, and all of R. Kelly's victims were African American women or Afro Latino, primarily African American women. And before you came on, I was paraphrasing a quote from Malcolm X that he gave in a speech back in 1963. The most unprotected, disrespected, unheard person in America or in the world is a black woman. And there's data to back that up. So what would you say to black women who are, to women in general, people, because women and men are victims of predators and victims of all the things, all the terms that's been out there.
Well, that's the thing. You're using predator again. Phrasing, not to him directly, but this is what I'm going to ask you.
Predatory behavior.
What is the definition of a predator? I want to ask you this.
Okay, well, I tell you what, I'm gonna answer your question.
I want you to answer that.
Since I'm not a lawyer, I'm not good. But what I
the
can
definition
tell you,
of predator. What do you think of that word? What do you think?
I'm gonna answer the question for you. So listen, hear me out, Michael.
Okay.
Let's just keep it 1,000. We can go to the P tape. We
100.
got an underage girl, and you got a grown man.
Hey, allegedly, but that's the thing.
The tape,
That's a different story, and I'm not going into that.
So the tape don't lie.
That's your opinion.
That's just one example.
Right.
That's one example. So we didn't even go into the whole thing with.
But I asked you, Geno. I asked you the definition of a predator.
A predator is an adult who is in a power position.
Seeking.
Hold on.
Seeking.
I'm gonna give you.
Seeking.
I'm gonna give you my definition. So it's since it's my show, I'm the host. I get to answer the question.
But you know what? So he's not out there looking for them.
And I'm gonna let you respond, but you answer me a question, even though I'm the one that's asking the questions. But we're having a conversation. So
I know.
My definition of a predator is any adult who automatically is in a position of power, just in terms of being an adult, in terms of knowledge, wisdom, not to mention money, fame, and clout, that will use that to prey sexually on any underage person. That's my definition of a predator.
Okay. And pertaining to Robert Kelly, he has all those, but he wasn't seeking them. You know, they lied. I'm going to be honest with you. They brought their parents lying for them.
So let me ask you
I
another
don't want to
question,
make
Michael.
some shit, but
Well, hold on, because
he
let's
didn't
be
go out
fair.
there and went, hello,
me to-
can I get your daughter?
Well, hold on. You want me to be fair to your side, you all side, and the side of people who support. And look, full disclosure, I talked about it on the show. I knew Rob before the world knew him.
Yeah.
I met him way back in 1990s. He was in a group called MGM Grand, and they won. Natalie Cole had a TV show called The Big Break. They were the grand prize winners. His Born in the 90s album that came out like in 1992, I heard that on a boombox in California, in LA.
Or the Panasonic Sony boombox with the two speakers.
Back in 1990. It was a guy, I think the brother's name was Craig. He was like working with them, managing MGM Grand. So here's the point. We talk about the parents. You say some of the parents. I thought I may have heard you say all the parents, but you believe.
It's the parents, and I'm gonna be honest. It's just not just only your parents. There's influences behind the freaking whole thing. You know. I can keep going, but go ahead.
Right.
Sir.
So because we had this conversation at the beginning. We'll give you some of the parents, like I said at the beginning. Maybe they had dollar signs in their eyes, stars in their eyes. They saw that their daughter wanted to be a star. They encouraged them to meet R. Kelly and to whatever. Some folks say, they, in essence, sold their daughter to R. Kelly. He's not the only one. So let's be real. But since this documentary is not about anybody else, this documentary is about R. Kelly. So we're dealing with that. Even if all that happened, which there are many accounts, there are not a lot of accounts publicly they did, but let's just say if that happened with the parents, or if the young ladies just were determined to try to be a recording star. R. Kelly was a grown man, yes, with unresolved trauma, but that does not justify, it doesn't justify you taking advantage of this situation. All these women,
okay,
and I'll let you respond, Mike. Let me just say this. All these women can't be lying. They're not lying. I know it and you know it. So go ahead.
How many women are you talking about, all these women?
Just all we got to do is just talk about the whole Surviving R. Kelly series of documentaries.
There was 3 disgruntled women and 1 Hispanic, right?
Well,
and that documentary was a production. It was staged, but that's my opinion.
Wait, you said it was staged. Do you have?
That's what I felt when I looked at.
Do you have proof of that? Could you prove that in a court of law? Is that proven in the documentary?
Well, no. I didn't. I'm saying the way the production ran, it was staged. That's what I felt.
You believe that?
They are or not victims.
You don't have evidence of that. We're talking about Surviving R. Kelly.
And I said my opinion. I didn't say.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Okay. With that said, Geno, you make it seem like he has 1,000 women that came after him. And he was charged
that was once again.
All these women.
That was your opinion. I didn't put a number to it. I gave a general statement. You put a number to it.
Oh yeah, and all these women, from a guy that's been doing 33 years in the game, doing R&B, all these women equal 4 women, and maybe 1 of them or 2 of them were coerced by somebody that knew his whatever group.
And that's what. Now let me say this. Let's be fair, because you're making accusations.
The proof is in the book.
Hold on. You're making accusations. Is that proven in your documentary?
No, my documentary is Even Kills, Not Victim Bashing. It's the reason things happen. If it was nipped in the bud.
I got you. I got you.
with mental issues prior to that, instead of getting how you say with those people in the Bush and whatever the group, the followers, the enablers, as you could say.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. So in all, like I said, I want to be fair to all sides, but I'm just, I don't bullshit my viewers. You and I talked about on camera because there are a lot of things that people in the industry.
Yeah, I never
Wait,
like this
let me finish.
conversation
Let me
because,
finish my thought. Hold on, Mike.
nobody's out there defending
hold,
him.
I know. Hold on. Wait, Mike. Hold on. I'm gonna let you give. Hold on. I got you. Let me just make my point. Just referring to some things we were talking about, you said earlier. I've known Robert longer than you have. I knew him before the public knew him. I lived in Hyde Park. So when I say all, there were things that we know, people who were from Chicago, people who lived near him, who went to Kenwood, who lived in that area, lived in other areas. There are things that we know. Not that what we think, things that we know. But I'm not here. Look, I am not a prosecutor. I'm not here to prosecute him. But what I am here to say is that it's not an accident that this behavior, and we can't act like this behavior didn't happen. He at the root of it.
Exactly. Let's say, okay.
Hold on. But for whatever reason, he found himself in the middle of this. There's a one common denominator. And
I know, Geno, and he say it was going on for several years, and it's just all Geno. I'm trying to understand where your mental frame and how the public opinion is. Okay, so all these years, you tell me from how long you said you know him better than I do.
I know him from 1990, but I'm not saying
that's when he started doing his thing, right?
Well, let's put it this way. So let's deal with the facts. The facts that we know. The facts is outside of things that a lot of people, a significant number of people from Chicago who knew him well, knew him in casual ways, or just
is that hearsay?
Hold on,
you heard,
or observed. Hold on, or observed things. Those conversations were being held back in the 90s, long before the first trial. Now let's deal with the fact. When things really became public was a guy named Jim DeRogatis, who was a music critic for the Chicago Sun-Times at that time. He got this tape that became the P tape, and then he talked to some other people that was around the situation. So, you can say where there's smoke, there's fire. But like I said, I am not a prosecutor. I ain't trying to prosecute the dude. That's not my job. I'm not a prosecutor. I'm not a defense attorney. But for those who feel that there has been legal accountability, but R. Kelly publicly has never taken any personal accountability. And once again, like I said, we can't ignore one of the most important facts, that the victims were black women. Black women, unfortunately, America, black women are unheard, unprotected, neglected, devalued, and their stories are the last
sure
to
got
be
pushed
told.
to the front for it. This particular case, particularly with his case, as you said, the black community always gets forgotten in the white world. You know that. There's no BS behind it. Okay, this one got pushed because if you look at it, his catalog's worth about $1 billion.
Right. So
who knows if he asked for that catalog, and that's what this happened in frame of paying. Who knows? There's always something that's we don't know, assume, whatever the case may be.
I got you. Right. I do stand up too, so I'm just adding a little humor to the situation. So I don't know. You might be implying the Illuminati has something to do with it. It's like, oh, he getting too big.
QAnon, as Trump says. Stand back and stand down, right?
The Illuminati didn't take him down.
Hey, Hey, Trump taught me a lot of things. Always deny. It's not me, it's you. No, I'm just kidding.
Well,
Um,
hopefully he didn't teach you the racism and the
hey,
Islamophobia and all that. Hopefully you didn't get
I
that.
might look Italian, but I'm
Yeah,
Palestinian.
well, hopefully he didn't teach you Islamophobia because you had to live
Yeah, I
that.
know.
It's just
I
like
mean,
us
go
as
figure.
Black Americans having to deal with racism. So let's bring it back
Yeah.
home. And Michael, I appreciate you coming on,
Yeah.
having an honest, straight up conversation. But you're
Yeah.
from the South Side of Chicago like me, so this is the
Hey,
conversation
hey.
we'd have in a
I
barbershop.
respect my Chicagoans. You guys are my brothers, man. Even though you live on the East Coast, you're always Chicago, bro.
So in closing, because they're still, this is a very sensitive issue because victims, there are millions of victims.
Yeah, it is.
Let me finish because I want you to kind of make your closing argument. What you want people to really take from this, and why, even if they feel that all these women who they saw in the documentary, other stories, anecdotal stories that people have heard for years in Chicago, or and he's in jail. They didn't storm him in jail. They had to get a jury to believe the prosecution's argument, which and I know you could make a whole nother argument out of that. But for people who still say, bottom line, dudes, you were a grown-ass man. You were a multi-millionaire. You were one of the biggest pop, not just R&B, pop stars in the world. You had this immense amount of power. You had the resources to where any kind of unresolved trauma, you could have hired the best therapist to help you with that. There were people who reached out to you who tried to say, hey, man, you need to just slow this down. You didn't listen to them. So for people
it was a problem.
Here's the final question. For people who feel that, Michael, what can you tell them, and why do you feel they will at least come out, not with a different perspective, but maybe
I get where you're going.
Saying, okay,
I want them.
I think he's guilty, but they opened my eyes to something else. What do you hope they come out? What do you hope they take away from this?
Well, that's why this time it's an even kill first and foremost. We're not making anybody look like a victim or a bad guy or an angel. We are trying to show the problem if it's not treated. Psychiatric, meaning mental health.
Yeah.
Mental health, like you said, hurt people, If it was addressed and taken seriously, maybe we will have a different outcome than what we won't be talking. I don't think we'll be talking, to be honest with you, if it was addressed personally with him.
Yeah, it wouldn't have happened.
With that
You're
said,
right.
I just
If
want people to take a look at this.
Yeah. Right.
We won't be sitting here talking. That's why I was trying to tell you.
Yeah.
So I just want people to understand this. This documentary is not to make R. Kelly look like he's a heavenly angel that came down and he was an innocent person. No, that's the course to deal with that. But there's another side. Just not. You got a victim side, which is that's what they had on that side, and you know what it was. Surviving R. Kelly. And now we got our side. Our side has been completed a couple years ago, but we did have a lot of pushback because it did have a story about him, and people didn't want it. It just seemed like people were shutting us down. Every time I had a distributor, they loved it, and then all of a sudden, we'll get back to you. Withdraw the LOI, the letter of intent. So they didn't see it. They saw it and they loved it, but there was a bigger agenda. But with that said, with the help of your show and whoever can help us and promote this, the documentary, all in all, will open their eyes as far as not addressing the problem, even in their own family or if they know somebody, to see what happened to this talented artist. Okay, so with that said, just addressing the issue at hand if there is sexual, abuse, etc. So that's
unresolved trauma, the whole 9 yards.
They're going to look at.
So
They're
hey,
going to
Michael,
look at him as not
a
a monster, but as mm,
Let me ask you a couple quick things, man, before you go. And I really appreciate. Listen,
mm,
I so appreciate you coming on and engaging and
mm.
being honest
I appreciate
and
it.
you know,
I appreciate
standing,
you.
you know,
I'm glad.
standing 10 toes down with your position. I respect that. So, and I respect that the dialogue, the back and forth, that we can, like I said, have one of those conversations like we have in the barbershop. So let me ask
Mm,
you, because I'm sure somebody's gonna watch this and say, so who is this Michael to R. Kelly to Rob? Um,
mm,
do you
mm,
what do you stand to gain? Is it financial gain?
mm.
What's the connection? How did you know, what is your connection or
Yeah.
relationship to R. Kelly?
Yeah. As far as that, honestly, I don't think he had a fighting chance. He took advantage of him, and I felt like out of my own pocket to produce something with the team I had. It just came down to making an even keel and to get his story. Because have you ever seen anybody combating or fighting for him when everybody's accusing?
Yeah.
There's usually somebody there speaking on his behalf or him speaking or denying the claims. Nobody was helping him. I felt like I needed.
Okay. And you
So,
actually you met him through a third party. To just for full disclosure and
correct,
accuracy, you met him through a third
correct,
party. Okay.
correct,
All right. Well, good.
correct.
When's the last
Yeah,
time you had
it
a
was
con?
back in
Let me ask you.
2017 when I met him. But,
Okay.
but
Uh, real quick, couple of real quick before I let you go, and I really appreciate you once again, brother. Um, like I said, standing 10 toes down and just being willing to have this conversation, because it's not an easy conversation, because you kind of know going in, you know, how
yeah.
people, you know, feel about, you know, R. Kelly and the whole situation. I
Mhm.
think the most important thing I want to ask,
But there's a lot of people that love him too.
yeah, yeah, you know,
So let's not think about the
professionally, what
people
he's
that
done,
are against
yeah,
it.
you can't take that away. But there are millions.
Everyone, there's a lot of and painters love him. There's a lot of people that love him in the entertainment world. So
So in closing, I think this for me, this is what I want to do, because I am about healing. I'm about the truth, and I'm about healing. The truth needs no defense. My grandmother used to tell me, Jeannie, tell the truth, shame the devil. The truth needs no defense. So um, I want to offer you. Well, here's my ask. If is there any closing message? Now we're not talking about the women that were part of
mhm,
this whole R. Kelly
mhm,
story, just for
mhm,
victims,
mhm,
especially victims of color, African American women, black and brown
mhm.
sisters and brothers, all over America. Like you said, your Palestinian heritage. So, you know, we understand oppression. That's a whole different conversation. So, our women
Yeah.
are always the last to be heard, the last to be protected. So, for those women specifically, but there are some men victims, um, is there a message that you would like to share with those who have been victims?
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's what I would say. I can't speak. I never met or have somebody in my family that went to be a victim like that. I can't answer for that, but I feel bad. Who would want to see anybody hurt? I started crying because I hit a bird a couple of days ago. So for me to cry for an animal like that, why not care about a human being?
Yeah.
You
The,
know,
the sense of
and that's it.
humanity and compassion
Humanity.
and empathy is important. That's something
That's
that's
one.
really missing in this society, and that's a whole, you know,
No matter what it is you are, religion-wise, it's just when it comes down to it, we're all going to the same place after. So just humanity, just take care of each other and do the best you can as a person.
so people can see, if you want to see Precedence, the R. Kelly story,
Mhm.
executive producer Michael Karaja. Michael, thanks again. Let everybody know
Right.
where they can go and watch. And then how many parts
Yeah,
is it? And
Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime?
I'm sorry, Amazon Prime. Yeah, it's on Prime. Amazon Prime.
Okay. How,
Precedence, scary story of R. Kelly.
How many episodes are we talking about?
We got the first season. We got total of 4 seasons. The first one was released about 3 weeks ago.
Okay. So is it going to be a total of just one per like the fall,
Yeah. So
spring, fall season?
the first one was basically like a pilot. Then we're gonna bunch them up into 4 season into one bundle. So on Prime.
We talking about
It
maybe
just depends on whatever Amazon Prime will let us.
okay. So we talking about a total maybe of 4 altogether?
4
episodes?
4 together.
Okay, but
Correct.
now there's one episode that the public
Yeah,
can
it's
see.
the first season. Yeah, one episode. Correct.
Go to Amazon Prime. All right. Michael Karaja, brother, thank you for the conversation. We appreciate you. Everybody, go to Amazon Prime. You can do it right now and check out Precedence. Watch it for yourself and come away with whatever you come away with. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming on. We'll stay in touch.
You got it, brother. God bless.
Same
All right,
to you,
my friend.
All right. All right. I appreciate my man coming on. Hold on. Let me just do something real quick. There we go. He was honest. He met R. Kelly through a third party. He said he felt that R. Kelly's side of the story wasn't told. He felt it was important that side of the story be heard. I'm going to close by saying this, and I'm going to paraphrase something. So my wife bought this little box here, and it says, karma is a lazy bitch. But my wife remixed it, Damaris remixed it. She said, karma's a slow bitch, but she eventually shows up. So I'm closing, that will be my closing message in relationship to the entire saga with R. Kelly and everything that we know in surviving R. Kelly, and a lot of stuff that people from Chicago like myself know that didn't even make surviving R. Kelly. And it doesn't just apply to R. Kelly. It applies to all of us. And to all those who watch me on a regular basis, you've heard me say this many times. Karma's real. And you can't outrun your karma. So be very careful about the energy that you send out into the universe, because it's your energy. You don't have to believe in any kind of religion or God or supreme being or higher power. Karma is real. And as my grandfather say, just keep living. Keep living long enough. You'll run into your karma, good or bad. So to paraphrase something that my wife got off this, karma is a lazy bitch. She said, karma's a slow bitch, but she'll eventually show up. So be careful. All of us understand. Karma, she might be a slow bitch, but she gonna show up. Because karma is your karma. And it's eventually gonna find its way back home, back to you, or even worse, it might come back to somebody that you love. So thank you for watching, everybody. God bless each and every one of you, and especially you, God, most of all. Thank you for letting me do the Geno Jones Show live, Monday through Friday, 6:30 p.m. here on the East Coast in the Charleston, South Carolina Metro, 5:30 in Chicago, 3:30 p.m. out on the West Coast. Subscribe, share, screen grab, like. Oh man, we got some viral moments. This conversation that I had with Michael Karaja, the executive producer for this new R. Kelly documentary called Precedence, the R. Kelly story. Oh yeah, we got some viral moments here. So check it out, if you like or not. But the opportunity is there. I just wanted to know this is out there. Want you to hear what he had to say. You can go check it out and come away with whatever take you already have, or maybe you will watch it and you will have maybe a different take, or maybe an expanded take of this whole situation. That's up to you. That's your call. But I said what I said. Karma's a slow bitch, but she gonna always show up eventually. She'll sure show up. All right, everybody. I'll be live. The next live edition of the Geno Jones Show. It's going to be Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. So if you missed any of this episode, this fire, you can go back and binge watch and screen grab it and create the viral moment up on TikTok, on Threads, on Twitter or X, on Instagram, on Snapchat, on Facebook, or create a YouTube short video right here on YouTube. All right. 6:30 Thursday, the next live show. You can binge watch all my back episodes. Shout out to Markel Bailey, the official barber and hairstylist for the Geno Jones Show. Check him out and his work. On Instagram is Kel Be Cutting Up, the CEO of Designer Cuts here in the Charleston, South Carolina metro. KelBecuttinUp on Instagram, on IG, on the gram. Allie Jones, the official wardrobe consultant and stylist. She's the drip director of the Geno Jones Show. Check her out on the gram, Instagram, and her collection, lx.ncl. Underscores that little dash at the end of lx.ncl. Underscore, little dash at the bottom at the end. On Instagram, on the gram. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Hello, Lisa Davis, everybody that's watching. Thanks for watching, okay? We'll see you live 6:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Thursday, or later today. If you're not watching me live, whenever you're watching it, Thursday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. I love you, each and every one of you. I love you. God bless you. We'll see you Thursday, 6:30 p.m. I'll holler.
Subscribe and tune in to the next episode of The Geno Jones Show, exclusively right here on YouTube.